All right, we are going to get started. First, I do want to just thank everybody for taking the time this morning to sit on today's webinar. I know it's a short week with the July 4th holiday coming up, and there's of course, lots that needs to get done in this very short week. So once again, like I said, I just want to thank you guys for taking the time to be here today. This webinar will be quick. I will be recording today so that you can review and pass along to anybody else that might want this information that could not make it today. But just so we are all know what we are covering today we are going to talk about viewing, resolving, and linking deficiencies in the field. So I will be kind of bopping back and forth between this presentation and my iPad. So I hope that it's a smooth transition there and we don't have any pre-July 4th technical difficulties. But before we kind of jump into today's training, I always like to kind of start with some gentle housekeeping. I know it's not the fun part of the presentation, but you may notice that next to your name, you have a red icon, whether that's a phone or a microphone. That is there on purpose. Everyone is currently muted. That's just to sort of help keep background noise down and no distractions because like I mentioned, this is going to be a fast-paced webinar. Now with that though, I do want questions. So any questions that may come up, you'll notice that there's a chat box, whether you have the GoToMeeting up on the right-hand side of your screen or you're using the web browser. You do have the option to chat. Place any questions that you have at any point in that chat area, and we will try to get to as many of those as we can before the half hour is up. Make sure that you do make them public and not just to one person. That way that I can see all those questions and we can get through all of those. So without further ado, let's just review what we're going to cover today. So we're going to view and we're going to review how to view open deficiencies on the iPad, how you can view those, when you can view them, and where you can see them. We're going to go over how to link deficiencies and the benefits of linking. So I'll kind of show you, what has that little icon been on the iPad that all of a sudden kind of popped up? And, why would I want to link? Not just from, making it easier for backend users, but also for myself as well out on the iPad. And then also, and lastly, we're going to show you how to resolve and add notes to a deficiency, and most specifically those resolution notes, and sort of, once again, the benefits of how that helps you in the field, but also the office as well. So why focus on this, right? Why, of all of the features that are available in the product, why are we going to spend a whole half hour or 20 minutes or so talking about deficiencies and linking and viewing and resolving? Well, all of this helps cut down on the time that is spent tracking deficiencies. What's the status of that deficiency? Where is it again? What's it associated with? This helps everybody involved, both anybody in the field as well as anybody in the back end. Knowing where that deficiency is in the process, is it still open? Should it still be open? How can I link it, etc. We also give you the ability as technicians to really be able to link deficiencies and cut down on the time it takes to add inspection notes, right? So you may spend a lot of time writing a very detailed note. You go back out, right? The inspection goes back to the office, a proposal is sent out, customer may never do anything with it. You go back out and writing that note all over again to just let the customer know that once again, it's still an issue is time consuming. So linking is going to help you, and I'm going to show you how that works. And then also just linking and resolving and being able to see all of this helps you keep track of a quote from the origin date to the time that it goes out for a quote to the time that it's resolved. It gives you a full, complete picture of the path that that deficiency has taken. So with that said, let's jump into the iPad. So let me pull that up onto my screen. And just give me 1 minute. I may have jinxed myself by saying that I wouldn't have any technical difficulties there, but let me just grab there we go. Perfect. All right. So up on my screen is the Inspect Point app now. So I am not going to go kind of into the details of an inspection, how it's performed. So I'm going to kind of just jump in and, like I said, just focus on deficiencies today. So I'm going to start the inspection by clicking Inspect. And now when I do this, I'm going to see my inspection. Now I've got a lot on my inspection, but most importantly, what I want to show you is, and when you find, oh, give me just 1 second here. I am just going to grab control back there for 1 sec. All right, perfect. What you're going to see and how you want to view these and when you want to view these deficiencies is 100% up to you. But you may have noticed that there's an icon in the upper left-hand corner of your screen that is a triangle with a small exclamation point. That right there is your deficiency icon. This will show you where all open deficiencies on this building live, right? Any deficiency you will be able to see here via this icon. So when I tap onto this icon, I am going to see all open deficiencies currently, not based on type. So and +2 on this one, I do have sprinklers, extinguishers, and alarms on here. So I'm going to see all of those different deficiencies. I'm going to see the question or item that it failed at. I'm going to see the original date that it was identified, and I'm going to see the status of the deficiency. Now, these were newly identified yesterday. And so automatically when you flag a deficiency in the field for the very first time, we apply a status of new. Now, as that status or as this deficiency makes its way through the whole reporting process, it might get added to a quote. It might be out for a quote and in review with a customer. It might have been accepted. It might have been declined, and it might have been fixed. So these are all status options that you may see. New means that it's brand new. Maybe the office has not had a chance to review it yet. It's not maybe been added to a proposal. But for all intents and purposes, like I said, it's new, recently identified. Potentially nothing has been actually done with that deficiency at this time. Now, if we want to, we can come in here at any time. We could come in here before we start the inspection and say, hey, just give me an idea of what am I going to be looking for on this inspection. Now, something else that you can do is if I close this screen, I could be performing the inspection, maybe, quickly glance at my deficiencies to begin with. But let's just say I'm performing my inspection, right? Everything's good. Everything's good. I'm scrolling down and, I see a red caution icon. That red caution icon is your deficiency flag. So what you'll notice on here is that I see the icon, but the answer is defaulted back to my system default, which in this case, all of my questions in this instance are defaulted to yes, to a positive answer. You may have yes, you may have NA, you also may have no default at all. But what we're seeing is a deficiency warning. So, like I mentioned, up in that upper deficiency area on the main screen, I saw this question listed. If I don't go there, I also, though, will be reminded inside my inspection that this is still an open deficiency. I still have to mark it deficient, though. So just that flag right there will not flag it as deficient when it comes back. It is just a visual indication out in the field that this is deficient still or unresolved in the back end. So if I'm out doing this inspection in this case, I get to this question, are the FDC caps and plugs in place? Well, they are not. It is still deficient. So what I want to do is go about marking this deficient as normal. I would go ahead and click on no. It'll highlight it that pink-red color for me. Then I want to go to the details area. I will still see my notes and internal notes, but you'll notice something new in the deficiencies area down below. Normally what you would do is just go to this notes and internal notes, add your notes, and take your photo. However, because this is an existing deficiency, I have the option to link. So I will see link existing deficiency. From here, I'm going to select the question that I want to link. It's going to pull this question up automatically because this is the question that I'm at. I will tap it until I see that little check mark, and I'm going to click Save. Now, one thing that you're going to notice is in my notes and internal notes area, my previous note appears. So in this case, this wasn't anything crazy. This wasn't a super long note, but I did take the time to add a note. I did take the time to add an internal note for the office. So by linking a deficiency, you're linking existing photos and notes. You're not having to do this all over again. However, I do recommend taking an additional photo, just another photo, another visual proof that is in fact still deficient. So I'm going to go ahead and just take a picture of my water bottle here, and I'll use that photo. This is my first time. I just reinstalled the app, so it's going to ask access to my photos. And really all I had to do in order to get this to now appear as a deficiency on the report was tap Link Existing Deficiencies, select the question, my notes pre-filled in, and my photo I just added is really the only new thing that I had to add here. I'm going to click Save as I normally would and proceed on with the inspection. Now the big thing is in the back end. The back end is going to see this flagged as a deficiency. But the big thing is this will keep one record of the deficiency. So before there was linking, you would go out and perform this inspection, identify it, go back out, do the inspection, identify it, and you would have two deficiencies in the back end. That sort of kept maintaining these deficiencies difficult. It also meant that you would see two deficiencies on your iPad, and if you only resolved one, there would still be one unresolved. So by linking, you identify the deficiency once, and then you have a trail of, okay, I identified it as deficient on this date, this date, this date, this date. You have a trail of it. Now, this works like this for pretty much everything. Questions, valves, devices, fire extinguishers, and I'll kind of show you what it looks like on a valve. So I'm going to get to the valve area, and I'm going to see the icon above the edit button on the valve. That is an indication to me that I have at some point had a deficiency on this valve. If I click on edit, it won't be on the exact question, but I know that at one point there was an open deficiency, or still is, I should say, sorry, on that valve. Now I'll tap back out to kind of show you what it looks like on an alarm system. So on an alarm system, you would see the caution icon next to the actual item that failed on the alarm system. You would also, on the alarm devices, see that icon next to the device itself that failed. This view that you're seeing is sort of a preview if you're a fire alarm and you're like, this screen looks a little different. A preview of what the 3.6.6 new screen will look like and that you'll be getting documentation on pretty shortly. But you will see the visual indicator next to the device. Now at the extinguisher, I'm going to jump back out there too. You will see on the list that there is not a visual indicator at that extinguisher that something has failed. It's not until you click into the extinguisher and scroll to the questions that you will see the exact question, or in this case, questions that failed and are currently marked as unresolved deficiencies with this building and with this extinguisher group. So, like I said, linking is just a way for you to be able to keep one record of that deficiency. We give you that visual cue as a way for you to be able to know, hey, it's open, without having to kind of bop back and forth between your inspection questions and the icon in the upper left-hand corner. Now, one other thing I wanted to kind of go over was resolving. So let's just say that you are out in the field and maybe we're at the fire extinguisher question. Is the fire extinguisher properly located, freely accessible, and has the proper signs in place? Maybe I was able to resolve this deficiency by placing the proper sign while I was out in the field. So I want to resolve this. I would like to let the office know it's resolved, and then also remove this from the deficiency list for this building for this customer because I was able to resolve it. So to do that, I'm going to click onto the details button, and I have to do this from the deficiencies icon right now. I'm going to scroll past until I get to the deficiencies area. Now I'm going to see that it was a linked deficiency, originally opened on July 1st of 2019. Now what I want to do is tap the is resolved toggle, so it will turn it that blue color. I want to give it a resolution status. I'm going to select fixed, and I'm going to give it a text, resolution text. So I'm going to say replaced, sign, and received approval while on site from Jennifer. Now what's going to happen is this note is going to get sent back to the office. And then if the customer wanted any sort of updated report, it would show this original deficiency plus the resolution note plus the resolution date and the status. So I'm going to go ahead and click save, and you'll notice that the status is changed to fixed. Now, next time I come out to do this inspection, I will not see that deficiency there. We only see unresolved. We see it here until the inspection is sent back to the office. Next time we are sent out an inspection, this deficiency will not be there because it has been marked as resolved and has been marked as resolved by you in the field. So I know that that is a lot, and we kind of went over it very quickly. But with that said, some key takeaways that I just kind of wanted to talk about was that resolving in the field can help with the back and forth with the office. So cutting down on, hey, when you're out in the field, was this resolved? Can you let me know? It doesn't have to be a lot of back and forth, a lot of phone calls, text messages, or anything like that. While you're performing the inspections, you can be resolving, letting the office know, so that way that the office can let your customer know as well. Linking deficiencies, of course, helps cut down on the repetitive notes and helps keep it more streamlined record of the original date all the way through resolution. So I kind of like to push this one too, just because keeping up with deficiencies seems to be a common thread whenever I'm speaking with anybody. Deficiency management, making sure you know where everything is, your customers know where everything is, and if anything ever comes up, you can let your AHJ know about that. This helps you be able to quickly pull up that information for your AHJ if you need to, or for your customer, and say, hey, this particular deficiency has been originally identified on this date, and we've let you know about it on this date, we've re-identified it on this date, and instead of you potentially missing one, it's all in one record. And then lastly, the visual cues of the questions, devices, valves, extinguishers kind of helps cut down on the back and forth that you may need to do between screens. We know that you guys out in the field have enough to worry about. So we just want to make sure that the visual cue is some way for you to know, hey, this is still open. If it is resolved, you can go back and resolve it, or it's a visual cue for you to once again be able to link the deficiency and know that this is still an unresolved deficiency. So, like I said, I want to thank you guys for kind of sticking through this. I know these are quick. Does anybody have any questions? If you do, make sure to drop them down in that chat box down there for me. I'll give you guys a couple of minutes. I know that sometimes typing in that little chat box can be slow, or even finding it in general. Okay, well, I am just going to put up the support information Like I said, I know sometimes questions too can also come up after the fact, and you will get a recording of today. So maybe after you've watched it, or maybe you've had a chance to play around with some of these features, some questions might come up. The best way to get a hold of us for any questions is to email support@inspectpoint.com. It is always manned 8 to 5 Eastern Standard Time. That is, like I said, the best way. If questions come up, issues come up, always email support@inspectpoint.com so someone from our support and success team can definitely get in touch with you. If anything comes up after the fact, please, please, please do not hesitate to contact us. Like I said, support@inspectpoint.com is the best way to get a hold of us. And I just want to thank you guys again for hopping on today. I will be on for a couple more minutes if something comes up, but you guys are free to go about your day at this point. And just like, again, thank you for joining.
Are you there? Hello?
Yes, I'm here.